Well, it's a real pleasure to be out here with Sarah Behringer-Bader, and we are at Lavender at Stonegate, which is your lovely, lovely kind of lavender farm and store and all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Now, first of all, before we start jumping into lavender varieties here that we've picked out, this is your new book. And I have to say, Sarah, it's lovely because it's not just a book about a bunch of different varieties of lavender. It's got all kinds of stuff in it.
Right. Well, for years, we've had people come out to the farm and have asked me certain questions over and over again about how to prune, how to take care of them, which ones are good for culinary, which ones are good for different purposes. So, you know, I got the good fortune of having Timber Press approach me a couple years ago and asked me to write a book for the home gardener. So there it is. Came out a couple months ago, and
well, it really is lovely. And one of the things that I noticed when we were looking through it earlier was that the colors of the lavenders, they're so many of them are almost subtle, the differences in them, but the photographer really captured that in this because they are very true to the color of the actual lavenders.
Absolutely. Yeah, she did a wonderful job because as you can imagine, there's so many different hues, and so what I do in the book is I try to break them down by, you know, the blues and the purples and the pinks and the whites, and there's even yellow, so that way you get a better idea of which ones work for your garden based on your color scheme.
Now, you also put in, I think, 10 of your top favorite. We've pulled 5 to talk about, but tell me quickly why those 10 were your favorite. What was it about them?
Well, you know, over the years, we grow close to 80 varieties here at the farm, and certain ones I find that are good for certain purposes, or you know, they're just gorgeous. And so, and some of them are good for different uses depending on what people want in their garden. So I just put together a list of the ones that seem to do really well and the ones that people tend to gravitate towards.
And so let's just jump right in with them and talk about, we picked out 5 of the top 10 that are in the book. So let's talk about those.
Okay, so the first, actually, there's 3 here that are what are called Lavendula angustifolias, or some people refer to them as English lavenders. And the first one, actually, this was my #1 favorite. This one's called Folgate, and it blooms almost like an iridescent periwinkle purple color. And it's got a really sweet, sweet fragrance. I absolutely love it. It's really easy to grow. Well, all of them are easy to grow. It's very cold hardy. But what I really like about it is it mounds nicely during the wintertime. So the foliage looks pretty all winter. And it's an early bloomer, so it's one of the first that comes in the season. So this, for that reason, that's why I like, I mean, smell it. Smell that. It's just lovely.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that nice?
Yep,
I know, really
delightful.
sweet. So then the second one, and you know, because we get a lot of people that want the darker blooms, especially the long stem, because they're great for bunches, either fresh or dried. So this is one that was a sport actually off of Hidcote. It came out of Tenino, Washington. It's called Purple Bouquet.
Beautiful.
And it's a dark purple. In fact, we've got some blooming in our field now. It's what we line our driveway with because it's so showy. And this one is actually a double bloomer, so it comes in twice in the season.
Nice.
And again,
and
it's got that
almost a bicolor.
Yeah.
The deep velvety purple and then the light
absolutely,
lavender.
yeah. And that's what's so lovely about it. It's just, you know, a really very pretty as far as the color goes. So now this one, this is another Oregon bred one by a gentleman named Don Roberts, and this is a continuous bloomer. So if you cut it, it just keeps coming back over and over again. This one's called Buena Vista, and this one is most definitely a big one for culinary. So now smell that, because it's really sweet, super sweet. Yeah,
that is.
But if you cut the blossoms off, it will come back over and over again throughout the season. So that one's, and the color's really pretty. So those are the 3 English, I guess you would call angustifolias. Now this one is, everybody asks me, what's the most fragrant? Now this one by far is the most fragrant. In fact, probably 70% of the oil production in the world comes from this one. It's called Grosso.
Really?
So this one is actually a cross. It comes from the family of Lavendula X intermedius, so it's a cross between angustifolia and spiked lavender. Now smell that. See how strong it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a really...
It's almost more of a medicinal
kind of a woody. In fact, a lot of people use it for aromatherapy, but it has long stems and it blooms a little bit later in the season, so more like July, like now. But so when people ask me, what's the most fragrant? By far, this one's the most fragrant.
And then the last one here?
And then the last one, which I believe should get honorable mention because I just love it. But what it is a fairly new cross, and this was also an Oregon lavender. And it's between Lanata, which is a woolly silver lavender, and angustifolia, which is an English lavender. So it's come up with these new species of lavender called chaturé, or Lavendula chaturé, and what they are hardy, silver, woolly foliage, long stem, dark purple lavenders, and they're just lovely.
So, we've really only scratched the surface on the amount of lavenders and the different types of them. But for more information about this wonderful book and about lavenders in general, go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to Sarah's website. Sarah, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.